Hi, I'm David Fleming, and I want to welcome you to the YouTube channel of Disciples Ignited, where we focus on Jesus, advance His kingdom, and prepare disciples. I'm so glad that you've decided to listen to these short videos. We keep them less than 5 minutes long, but I'm sharing with you content from God's Word that's going to help you grow as a disciple of the Lord, so welcome. Now, I do want to encourage you to look up on Amazon a series of books that I've written titled Spirit-Filled Discipleship. 3 books that talk about how God calls, how God prepares, and how God reveals Christ-like disciples. So look them up on Amazon. You'll be glad you did. Now, let's get on to our study on the life and ministry of David. David, who is now the king of Israel, is going to bring the Ark of the Covenant into the capital city, Jerusalem. And so it's approximately 14 miles from where the Ark of the Covenant is stationed to where Jerusalem, the capital city, is. So it's not a long trip, but it was a very important trip. And David made it a national celebration. 1 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 6 tells us, David and all Israel went to Baal of Judah, Kiriath Jearim, to bring up from there the Ark of God, the Lord. And then in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 5, we read, David and all Israel were celebrating with all their might before the Lord, with castanets, harps, lyres, timbrels, cisterns, and cymbals. It was a day of celebration like none other. Well, David had the Ark of the Covenant put on a cart so that it could be transported into Jerusalem. But something happened on the way there. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 6 and 7 tells us, Uzzah, who is one of the men that was helping transport the cart, reached out and took hold of the ark of God because the oxen stumbled. The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah because of his irreverent act. Therefore, God struck him down, and he died there beside the ark of God. What? The Lord struck Uzzah down for touching the ark of God? Why? Well, because what they didn't realize is the only humans who were allowed to carry God's throne were the Levites. Yeah, David had a heart after God, all right. He was zealous for the Lord. That's why he wanted to bring God's throne into Jerusalem. But in this instance, David wasn't aligned with God's word. In all of his preparation, David hadn't prayed. He just acted. 1 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 13 tells us that David later said, It is because you, the Levites, did not bring it up the first time that the Lord our God broke out in anger against us. We did not inquire of him about how to do it in the prescribed way. You know, when God struck down Uzzah, David was angry, but he was also fearful of the Lord, which is good. He knew that it wasn't God's fault. It was his fault. He hadn't done it the Lord's way. But David still had a passion for God, and he desired for God's throne to be in Jerusalem. So he tried again. But this time, he was going to do it the Lord's way. Well, 3 months later, David set out to bring the ark to Jerusalem, but he got in God's word and he made sure that he was doing it the prescribed way. Yeah, it was a national celebration again. Praise was exuberant. In fact, David, wearing a linen ephod, was dancing before the Ark of the Covenant as it was brought into the city, and no caution or expense was spared. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 13 tells us, when those who were carrying the ark of the Lord had taken 6 steps, he sacrificed a bull and a fattened calf. But you know, that wasn't the reason they were successful. David was in alignment with God's word. He did it in the Lord's way. Hopefully, you have a hunger for Jesus just like David did. But if you want to be a successful disciple of the Lord, you've got to have more than just spiritual passion and zeal. You've got to be aligned with God's word. That's the Jesus way. See you next time.